Joe Biden he's been in a fog for years, and Chuck Schumer denying that he did it, even though Kristen Welker there, NBC News, showing him video proof of what Schumer had said about Joe Biden and what Joe Biden was telling us. And Joe Biden did his part yesterday to remind us all how out to lunch he really is when he invited a young man up to the podium on his birthday. Listen to this.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday. Happy birthday to you. All right.
All right, he can't follow along with the music, and it's happy birthday, and he couldn't remember the name of the guy that he was singing happy birthday to. And honestly, it's
off the stage.
Take the keys away from this guy.
Look, we've been watching this unravel before our eyes for the past several years, Chris. They tried to make it, the White House covered up for him, his aides covered up for him. It was literally just a betrayal of their own oath of duty to this country. I mean, then they would talk about the cheap fakes, right? No, those are cheap fakes videos. That's all the conservative media pushing.
Disinformation.
That's right,
conspiracy
disinformation.
Theory.
Completely ridiculous. The guy can't, how embarrassing for that guy, even the kid that's next to him, that he couldn't even know his name. I mean, it's
a great moment in the kid's life, I've got to say. And the president tried to sing happy birthday to me, but he doesn't know the song and he didn't know my name. Other than that, I was saying earlier today, I don't think it's too late for Joe Biden to step down as president.
Again, I might be the only person still in America that thinks that Kamala Harris should be president today, because the fact is that 70% of Democrats before the midterm elections wanted a new candidate. So it wasn't just us Republicans who saw what everyone else saw, which is that this is an old, geriatric, angry, sundowning man who was unfit for this office. The only people who refused to acknowledge that were the Democrats and their media enablers, although I repeat myself.
You know, Peter Baker wrote a piece today for the New York Times. I was forced to buy the New York Times as it was the only paper I could get in the Miami airport. But I actually read it cover to cover. And to read Peter Baker, someone maybe I even once had respect for, try to gaslight the readers that actually the economy is good, that border crossings are down, that people are economically better off, but something screwy happened because Elon Musk bought Twitter and screwed up the results of the election. I mean, they are that delusional over the mental state of Joe Biden and the popularity of his policies. But it's not
delusion. It's intentional, willful lying.
Lying.
And you know that because he correctly compares Biden to LBJ, who was probably the last president to create this much destruction, right? Worst inflation since the inflation LBJ created.
Honestly, we live in very corrupt times, and the news media, again, they're not liberals, they're the left, and that changes absolutely everything. At the same event, President Biden there at the White House, Joe Biden was a grumpy old man while trying to take questions from a couple of reporters that were asking them after being asked about President Trump's plan to end birthright citizenship. Biden snapped.
My being the oldest president, I know more world leaders than any one of you ever met in your whole goddamn life.
Well,
yeah, Chris, we know this because he thought that Francois Mitterrand was still the president, because he thought Helmut Kohl was still in charge of Germany, right? This was like a year ago that he was saying this.
Fidel Castro and Hugo Chavez and all the winners of the 20th century, old pals of Joe Biden.
I was reminded watching the Schumer clip of my days as a high school debate champion in Maryland. Obviously, I was very cool.
Here we go again.
And I just want to point out, Chuck Schumer said Biden was cognitively there for 3 reasons. He appointed a lot of judges. Okay, so people he's basically never met. He signed a lot of legislation that he never wrote. And he quit. And that it was nice that he quit. So none of these are actually proof that Biden is mentally there. Chuck Schumer is lying even when trying to say that Biden is actually, smarter than Einstein and a better athlete than Tom Brady, which was certainly never the case. But I think that you're all totally right, and it is important to remember that these media apparatchiks are just arms of the Democratic Party. Kristen Welker never once asked a Democrat prior to November 5th, hey, is Joe Biden declining? And you have to understand there's a reason for that.
Look, my point in all this is The Democrats are not talking to the American people about why they lost and that they've heard from them. What they're telling them is they're not perceiving the situation accurately. Joe Biden's actually okay. Actually, you are doing better off.
I'm good with that. Let them double down.
Even though you can't pay your bills, you're doing better off.
And they're all happy to lie about it, and the news media is happy to carry the lie.
Information. Truth is freedom. Is Newsmax. It's real news for real people.